Hey guys, this is Jay Calderon with Jay Unboxing here, giving you a personal prediction for Leigh Wood versus Michael Conlan. And as always, this is of course just my pick. Your prediction can be left down in the comments section below. Would love to hear any and all predictions, bets, so on and so forth. Love to hear it all. Starting off with a little bit of fight info here, we have Wood versus Conlan, as mentioned, taking place at the MOTORPOINT Arena in Nottingham, England, airing live on ESPN on this side of the pond in the Featherweight division for a portion of the WBA title that currently is possessed by Wood. And it's a very interesting contest to some degree, one going somewhat under the radar during a relatively slow week for boxing. Many expect Conlan is just about to try and pick up a portion of the title in what might be considered the easiest of the lot at featherweight. Probably true. That being said, Wood is not a slouch, and I give him a lot more credit perhaps than a lot of other people do, so I think it could be a more intriguing fight than a lot of people might be considering. So, does Conlan finally get some gold, or will Leigh pull off the minor upset? Let's break this one down. Starting with Wood here, I think he needs to time the straight right hand. I think Conlan naturally has a bit more quick twitch speed than Wood does, and as a result of that, Leigh is going to have to be very careful with how he throws that right hand. That's kind of his money shot. It's his probably best pure shot, the shot he gets the most on, and as a result of that, he's going to look to want to land it, of course. That being said, if he and Conlan are trading those sorts of shots, and Conlan has a better chance of getting to it quicker, faster, from a slightly safer position, that's never going to be a good thing for Wood. So instead, he's going to have to time it. He's going to have to maybe take a round or two to try to get the pacing on Conlan's shot, find a spot where he can throw it that's a lot safer for him, that's going to put him in his own personally best range, and still allow for him to put some mustard on that shot, potentially trouble Conlan with it, and have some success throughout the fight. I would also say don't get ragged late in the fight. In his title-winning performance against Zhu Khan, Wood did somewhat begin to fade in that fight. Now, he still had some success and ultimately got a stoppage, but you could see that especially defensively, a lot of his areas of concern were really rearing their ugly heads over time. This is something that I think Conlan is young enough and youthful enough, has enough movement to be able to exploit if it happens. So instead, if you're Wood, I think you want to let yourself kind of build into the fight a little bit more and just pace yourself better. Again, especially if you take that first, maybe second round to kind of figure out the timing of Conlan anyway, it only allows for you to preserve some more energy to begin with. Just stay defensively sharp, pick and choose your spots as you build more and more confidence in the fight, and then allow for yourself to grow more into an offensive threat as the rounds progress. And I would also say land the uppercut as Conlan comes in. One of the areas where you can definitely exploit the defensive lapses of Conlan is when he kind of lunges in a little bit over the top of that front foot and tries to land that right hand of his own. He'll take some rather large steps towards his opponent. Now, if you're trying to time him because you obviously don't have the speed advantage, a great way for you to do that is with a really solid uppercut. And Wood has one. Wood is a really solid right uppercut, and that's something he will be able to land if he throws it and times it effectively. If he can catch Conlan coming in over his front foot, throw that shot with some actual, gusto behind it, it could certainly be a punch that pays off for him as the fight progresses. Now, for Conlan, I think you want to make sure don't back up in straight lines. Wood is, I think, a guy who can, especially in those middle rounds, really get his kind of best action going. Again, I think Wood will try to build into the fight, and I think he could potentially fade. But it's those middle rounds where if you give him that kind of ground, he could potentially be in a position to win this fight. So if you're Conlan, you want to make sure that you're staying sharp, you're staying crisp, and you're making sure that you're staying active on your lines. And what I mean by that is don't just make it easy for him by backing straight up or standing there in the pocket and trying to slug it out for him, especially as he's getting fresher and fresher in those and more aggressive in those middle rounds. Make it a little more challenging for him. Back up to the side, use angles, turn him, do things that are going to tire him quicker, and of course give you the edge and the benefit of being able to be a fresh young fighter who really hasn't been in many wars, and of course give yourself the best chance to win on the night. I would also say double jab to set up the right hand. I do think that, of course, Wood is going to have to try and time you. Again, you have the speed advantage, and sometimes you can throw that right hand as a lead shot and it'll do well. But in order to make sure that you're still again, switching things up as well as using a blinder, the jab and double jab are really going to be potentially successful for Conlan, especially if he sticks to them throughout the fight. This will, of course, allow for you to throw that right hand in a more camouflaged manner, but also will just allow for you to score with the jab more consistently. So if you're throwing that jab, and especially that double jab, it'll only lead to more success with both hands, and of course, that's all that Conlan is going to be looking for. And finally, build into the fight. One area of concern that I always have for fighters who are kind of taking their first big step into more of the limelight or into a title shot or against a bigger name or whatever it might be is that they allow for themselves to kind of shoot their load a little too early in a fight. You don't want that. You want to be able to, especially if you're a fast-handed fighter, a quick twitch fighter like a Conlan can be at his best. That's not what you're looking for. What you're trying to do is make sure that you build more into the fight, that you allow for yourself to get through your paces, kind of work yourself through those gears, and then as the fight progresses, so do you. If you're going to just go out there and throw everything to the wind, again, number one, you can get countered, you can get hurt, you can get hit by shots you don't expect, but also, even if you're winning the fight, you just tend to trail off towards the end of a fight, which can always be more dangerous. Instead, time yourself, make sure that you're aware of what round it is, aware of how you're going, how you're feeling, and just allow for yourself to build as the fight progresses. Now, in terms of my pick here, there's a part of me that's tempted to go with Wood, but I do think that most of the circumstances and skills favor Conlan just a bit too much. While the fans may favor Wood in his backyard, so to speak, I think everything else is set up for Conlan to win in terms of what matters, whether it's promoters, networks, who people would like to see, judging, so on and so forth, and we all know how judging in the UK has gone this year thus far. What's more, I do think he's talented enough to trouble Wood, and as long as he stays measured and doesn't overdo it early in the fight, at any point really, he could stay within himself and get this job done, and I think he does just that. Conlan will box well, jabbing and using solid movement to frustrate Wood. Eventually, he'll hit him with some shots that are nice and clean, and that might even bust his foe up a little bit. A little bit of bad blood in this fight, so that wouldn't be too interesting to see. Wood will persist. He's a good quality operator. I think he might even have some success later in the fight if he can, again, pace himself. But ultimately, I think that while the fight's not going to turn into a knockdown, drag-out fight, it's going to favor Conlan. He'll have enough to be able to maintain the lead he builds, especially in those earlier rounds, and pick up the decision win. Conlan via comfortable decision. The betting odds for this fight are relatively close, all things considered. You have Wood coming in at a plus 140, with Michael Conlan hitting at a minus 180 rather. Relatively close, all things considered. Again, it was kind of why I thought maybe there'd be something there for me to pick up with Wood, and from a betting perspective, there still might be. I mean, you're getting relatively decent odds there. Just kind of depends on, again, how good do you think he is? What are your actual thoughts of Conlan? There are some doubts about him and plenty of doubters about him as well that think he just might not be as good as people were expecting him to be. And what sort of decision might come if they do go to decision and it's a relatively close fight? Who does that favor when you look at some of the crazy scoring that we've had this year? So it's just, there's a lot of things to kind of sift through here when you're trying to figure out what the best odds are for you. In any event, they're relatively close. If you find an over under, pretty much with almost no exception, bet the over. I just don't see either guy getting knocked out in this fight. Could be dead wrong. Again, you never know until it happens, but I see this fight going the distance, barring a breakout performance by either. But in any event, those are your odds. And my prediction record heading into the weekend is 10-1-0 with 2 exact. So yes, I know exactly who's going to win. Couldn't tell you how, apparently. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you, your thoughts, predictions, bets, any kind of bet you're laying, so on and so forth. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at jcalderon_JOB. You can email me at junboxing@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you there. Also, be sure to check out junboxing.com for schedule, results, betting odds, rankings. I really did a good job on updating the schedule there, so you could check that out for about the next couple of months, of course. And later in the week, of course, be sure to look for my fighter grades piece, which will be mostly about this card in particular, so that'll be pretty fun there as well. And as always, until next time.